Coming up, growing a gardener's green thumb. We all want to have a great-looking yard filled with lush plants and full shrubs, a showpiece that lets our neighbors see we have that much desired green thumb. But, in reality, a lot of us struggle just to keep the grass green and weed-free. It's no fault of our own, because there is a science and process behind successful sod and prosperous plants. And the city of Deltona wanted to help 2 of its residents get those showcase yards.
So, Mr. Venegas, we picked a Florida-friendly, low-water landscape design that would still have some color, and he wanted low maintenance. So what we did, we against the wall, we went with the Florida native Kunti palms to add some green and softness, low maintenance, no trimming required. We used his existing sago palm, and for a little bit of contrast, we the middle layer we're gonna propose flax lily, which is not Florida native, but is Florida friendly, requires very little water. And then the last layer, to add a little bit more color, we went with agapanthus or lily of the Nile. Again, low water, low maintenance. And on the other side of the walkway, we in front of the window, for a little bit of height and color, we used Thryallis, which is a Florida native, really easy year-round, almost year-round yellow color. And then in front of it, we carried over the agapanthus for a little bit of consistency from the other side. And then as the lower level, in front of the agapanthus, we used the flax lily as a finish for the bed. And then underneath the existing large queen palm, we were going to use the society garlic, just as a bed, a mass planting of society garlic. And then underneath the post, for the mailbox, we were going to use some lantana for color. So that's it.
Okay, so Alan, now that you've got this kind of more or less prep for planting, what we'd like to do is finish smoothing it out. But as you're doing that, you've got this cow manure that you had on hand. And what we're going to do, since you've got really sandy soil like most people do in Florida, is we're going to try to add some organic matter to that. And that's going to help, since we're fortifying an entire bed, that's a good thing. So as you're smoothing the soil out, you'll be incorporating the cow manure into the soil, which will benefit your new plants. So while you can start raking, and I'll finish spreading some of this around. And any kind of organic matter you can incorporate into the entire bed, not the individual planting hole, is a good thing. So that's what we're trying to do here, is incorporate this cow manure into the entire bed. So now, in preparation for this bed, I've kind of started the outline of what the bed is going to look like eventually. And then of course you're going to remove all this grass like you did with the other bed. Yes. But in here we're going to add to what you've already got. You've got 3 nice loropetalum here, and you got a nice spiral shrub there. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of go along, and like I started with the shovel, just kind of start edging your bed. It'll be a nice smooth line all the way around here to the corner of the house.
Okay.
And then once we have the bed marked off, then what we can do is I can show you where the plants are going to go, and then later on you can come back through and just take the plants out because you'll know what they'll look like. We'll remove the grass and we'll do what we did in that first bed. So here's your driveway.
Right.
We're standing right here. We're standing right about here. Okay. So these little star looking things, there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's these. And we're just going to space them out evenly about 2 feet out from the house. Okay. So in other words, this is going to be your first one. And so you just space them
2 feet, right?
About, yeah, well, 2 feet out from the house. Yeah, a little farther out. Just, yeah, there you go. And that spacing is good. So just continue all the way down the line there. Because coonties will spread. So, and that's one of the principles of Florida-friendly landscaping is you want to space plants according to their mature width. Okay. And coonties will get 4 feet wide. So if you plant them 4 feet apart, that's fine. And that, you know, they look a lot like the sago. And here's your number 6, and there's your corner plant. And see, the coonties will grow in the shade. So that's going to go, yeah, right about there. And then we'll remove that lower pedalum and move it out where it's going to get more sun. So there's your coonties. Next, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the flax lily. And that's this one. So they're going to go in a group, a little far. They're going to kind of go in a group here in front of the sago. So put your first 2. You're going to have one here and one here, and about equidistant between the first one I planted and that boxwood. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. And then you're going to have 2 more, and you're going to kind of stagger them like that. Okay. It doesn't have to be precise, just so they're kind of evenly spaced. And yeah, we'll move this one about there, and let's put this one, let's put him out here and take up space. So that takes up a lot of space, and that's good. So next is going, well, on second thought, let's move him about there. And again, these are going to spread. In time, you know, next year that whole area will be taken up. So the last thing that goes in here is going to be the agapanthus, or lily of the Nile. And we're going to have one here, and then we're just going to kind of space them equally all the way down the line, kind of in between the boxwood. Okay. But not exactly. There you go. Yeah, that's why it's good to place the plants before you plant them, because then you can shift them around. You know what the old carpenter's adage is you measure twice and you cut once. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're kind of trying things out, making sure it all fits before we put it together. So I tell you what we're going to do. Yeah, take that last one. Let's see. Let's move him about there. Let's move him about here and put him right there. And again, these are plants that are going to spread. So in about a year, this bed's going to be completely full. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm going to move this guy a little farther away. But again, this is why you put your plants in place before you plant them, because now you can move things around, make sure they're not too close together. We're a little crowded here, so I'm going to move him and him there. And let's stand back and have a look. Come back here and tell me what you think. That look pretty good?
It looks pretty good.
So now we're ready to plant. Another one of the principles of Florida-friendly landscaping is proper planting, because proper placement and all the other principles of Florida-friendly landscaping don't matter if you don't plant things right. And the biggest mistake most people make when they plant things is they plant them too deep. Okay. So the idea is you want to take the plant out of the pot, and sometimes they're kind of jammed in there, so it's a good idea you can roll the pot and that kind of loosens it, makes it easier to come out. And then if you don't have a lot of roots like this one, what you can do is take your extra soil and just throw it in the bed, and you can incorporate that too.
Okay.
So the idea with the plant is you want to dig a hole that's about 1.5 times the diameter of the root ball.
Okay.
And since you got nice Florida sandy soil, it's nice and loose. And you want the top of the root ball a little bit above the existing grade,
Okay.
because plants will adapt to that easier than being planted too deep. So as you can see, I'm kind of incorporating the soil that was in the pot in with your existing soil, and that's a good thing. And then it's just a matter of backfilling around the plant. As you can see, the crown of the plant is a little bit higher, and then you want to kind of tamp it down a little bit, not too much.
Not too much. Okay.
And then smooth it out. And then you're going to create like a little donut.
For the water.
Yep. So that when it waters, it stays near the root. Now that'll eventually flatten out, but that's about all there is to it.
Okay.
And that's how they should all look when you're done planting them. So now we've got everything planted or placed over there. Here's what the rest of it looks like in front of the house. Beautiful. So now you have an idea what your new bed's going to look like. So now all you have to do is take the plants back out, clean it out, and then do what we did in the other bed. And then once everything's planted, then 2 to 3 inches of your pine bark mulch, and you're done.
Okay. Good. I wanted to thank you. I want to thank you, the city of Deltona, for this great gift. And yeah, it was a good experience.
Well, this is my stash. This is all the liriope I took out from the beds over here. I have no clue what I'm going to do with it. Divvy it up. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well,
I have no idea.
You've got plenty here, and you know, as you and I have talked in the past, Helen,
right?
I'm a big fan of mass plantings, and with a clump this size, you could easily get 6 to 8 divisions out of this.
Okay.
So just take your shovel and start slicing it up like you'd slice a piece of meat, and get nice, you know, 6-inch clumps.
You're trying to kill me here with this planting,
well,
right?
you got a lot here. So, but this is great filler, and it's its own pretty little evergreen flowering plant in the spring. It's got, as you know, the little blue flowers in the spring. But I'm a big fan of mass planting. So let's go over here and look at an area that we're talking about here. Is underneath this
oh, my hibiscus
here, where you've got a lot of space, and you're going to have the rest of your landscape plants over here, but you're going to have some space here. And since the hibiscus is going to flower off and on pretty much most of the year, and it's a great accent plant, and I'm glad you moved it here.
Thank you for telling me.
If you were to put a big mass of that liriope underneath this to take up the space, and since it's evergreen, it would be a great combination with the hibiscus here. So another thing you can do, and you can see the bed line that I'm suggesting
that we talked about here.
A nice, smooth, curvilinear bed line. If you wanted to end it over here, that's okay, but if you wanted to get really ambitious, you could curve it back out around in front of this podocarpus. And again, a nice, smooth bed line, and the liriope in front of the podocarpus as well, because like I say, you've got plenty, and you want to plant them
Okay.
18, 24 inches apart.
Okay.
That would be a nice textural contrast in front of the podocarpus. Plus, when it flowers in the spring, it'd really show up nice.
All right. I can do
Nice,
that.
simple planting, nothing too complicated. And then if you wanted to, again, you could end the bed at the end of the podocarpus, or you could take it out here to the street, and you could put another accent plant out here and kind of copy what you did with the hibiscus, is put an accent plant out here in this wider area, and then surround it with liriope
Shrimp
here.
will work here?
Shrimp plant will
'Cause I
work
like
great here
that,
because
so-
they'll get about 3-4 feet tall. You saw some at the extension office.
Yeah. That's an awesome garden.
And
That's awesome.
that would be a nice accent plant here, and you could surround it with liriope as well.
Okay.
We have the plant selection and design book here that I know
That's a
that
great book.
that you used to kind of figure out what would work in your yard. But and I see you have your plants there. What did you do to make your final decision on plant selection?
The biggest thing was coming to the extension center to see the garden.
All right.
I had no idea that was there until you and Joe mentioned it. So I went. Some of the plants I was familiar with because I had a couple in the yard already, but there were other things like the firecracker, the cast iron plant, the shrimp plant, the sedum angelina. Had no idea what those were. So
But when you went there, you found out.
and the other thing was to know where it would do well, because
Right.
out here is pretty much full sun except for that corner there that gets part shade.
Now, once you saw that at the extension office, did you go back and look at the key in this
yeah,
book to
to
make
see,
sure
yeah.
that it was going to fit in your yard?
And I was trying to make sure, even when I looked at plants at the nursery, that it would conform.
Did you take the book to the nursery with you?
Oh yeah. That book's been around.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm glad it was helpful. And
It
then
was.
we also have the specification sheet for how to plant. Did you use that when you started your planting
I
here?
actually did use that.
Okay.
I was very careful
Well, good.
because I knew you were coming.
All right. So you have your plants all over here, and what we want to do is we've kind of mapped. Joe helped you map out a kind of a area for planting that's going to smooth in and tie in with your sod when you get it, if you ever get it.
And my leftover liriope.
And well, you have plenty of that left over, but you can put some of that down there in that corner.
Yep,
Is that
down
correct?
there, all along here on the side, and also in front of the hibiscus, just to tie in with what I left in there.
Okay, and you know that, and we talked about being able to split those plants so you don't have to, you can divide them up, quarter them or half them. They are heavy. So you probably want to cut them a little bit and do that. And then I know there's a watering guide for new plants back here. So once you get these in place, you need to follow the watering guide. So because you don't want to overwater, but you know, new plants,
ma'am.
and also new plants do not need to be fertilized for at least 30 days.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then
That's a good thing you're telling me this because I was ready to come out with the fertilizer.
There's enough stress on a new plant when you plant it that if then if you fertilize it, it can stress it some more. So we don't want to stress
30 days.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So 30 days before any fertilization, and but do keep them wet. And the best barometer for knowing whether it needs water is stick your finger in the dirt. And if it comes up totally dry, it needs water. And if you get little pieces of dirt on your finger, it's probably damp. So that is the best rule of thumb of finding out whether your plants are dry or not.
So I don't have to get a water meter and tap each one.
No.
Thank you. This is good.
So I think what we want to do, we see what plants you have here. And what we want to do is we want to take some of these pots and set them where we think you want them. Then we're going to step back, take a look at them, and then make any adjustments from that point. Okay. What we're going to do is pull out some of the taller plants and we're going to set them around so that we can figure out exactly where. And it's always good before you dig the hole or before you plant what you want to do to set them out, because you might not like where you put them. Then you've already wasted some time in digging, and you want to make work easy on yourself.
Really? Okay, this this last one. Let's see.
All right, right there right there.
in
I
here?
think right there.
Okay.
Let's take a look and see.
Let's take a look.
Oops, we have one. We'll need to probably cut that off.
Yeah, I have the clippers. That
That's
one too.
okay. We'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
Probably
Do you
could
like
shift
the?
a couple.
I
but-
think we need to shift a couple as well. I think we came out too far here.
Okay.
So I think we need to push back a little. Because where's your line, right? It's right here, right?
It's here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we want to, and we need to also figure out the growth of these so we know how far apart to plant them. You know, how big they get, because we may have them too close together. So we need to look at that. All right, now go back and take a look and see how symmetrical we are. We may still have to move something. Let's see. I still don't like that one in the middle there. Now let's take a look. Now what do you think?
Works for me. Let the digging begin.
You let the digging. Well, we at least have those in place. Now, do you want to set your other plants around before you
thinking-
start that so we can make sure that everything's going to flow together?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do at least the bush daisies because
All right.
those are the next taller
All right.
ones.
We'll
Okay.
take a look at those. And tell me, do you like that arrangement?
I like it.
Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about putting your smaller ground covers up along this edge here.
Yeah.
So we have the outline that Joe made for you, but we may need to, because of the height and the depth of the plant that's
Okay.
we may have to come out a little bit because you have a lot of plants and we don't want to crowd them.
21 of them.
So we're going to start with a line around here. Also down here in this corner, I think
Just not sure if it gets really wet here, how they'll do.
that's where you're going to put the plant, set it aside, and
one.
start digging.
Oh, joy.
And you're going to place it, and then we're going to see how much of that other soil you need to add. And I think you may have to add some. So. I think that looks pretty good. Now, yeah. Now remember, when you mulch, you're not going to mulch over the top of that root ball. Okay, you're going to up to it, right? And then after a while, you'll want to water. You want to give it a little drink of water, and as you and then if you have some extra soil here, you'll probably just rake that around before you do your mulching, so you can, once you get and mulching is going to be your last step. So once you get your plants planted and you kind of rake your soil around to level everything out, and then you'll mulch.
Okay.
Okay. And then it already has slow release fertilizer.
Yes.
So then you know,
about 30
it's
days?
about 30 days you can fertilize, and then whatever you choose to pick, it is very important when you're using fertilizer to look at the label and only make as much as the label requires you to make.
Okay.
You know, if it says 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, it shouldn't be 4 tablespoons to a gallon of water, you know, because that over fertilizes your plants.
Okay.
So you have to be real careful about following the label.
Is liquid preferable to granules?
I
or
don't know
does it
that
matter?
I don't know that it makes
Okay.
any difference.
Okay.
It just makes a difference when when you are mixing it. If you're mixing it
Okay.
yourself, if you know, a lot of the liquids may be concentrated, so you'll have to look.
Okay.
Again, when you're purchasing, read your labels.
Okay.
Also, there are Solutions for Your Life. The EDIS website will give you hints about the type of fertilizer. There's a chart.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a chart in there for that will give you some idea of how much nitrogen, potassium, all that
Okay.
stuff that that you need to use and what the numbers mean and things like that.
Oh, good.
And then we have a water chart on here that you're going to look at. And once you get all this stuff in place, you're going to follow the watering chart.
Okay.
Remember, you're going to check with your finger to see if it's
See
dry.
if it's dry.
Right. Right.
Okay, Helen,
Hey.
everything is done. So tell me about the process.
Oh, well, the process was interesting. After I found out I was a contest winner, I went down to the nursery, spent some time with Michelle, looked at some plants, told her what I liked as far as the form and ease of maintenance, and she was really helpful because she took me around the nursery, showed me what they had, made recommendations, and then I went back for a second visit and picked her brain again about watering conditions, the lighting, making sure I was grouping plants that had similar lighting and watering requirements. And halfway through the process, I guess her words of wisdom were, don't overthink it.
What are you taking from it?
Just to use the resources that are available. The extension office is a great resource, and had I gone there eons ago for specific things, the lawn wouldn't have looked the way it looked. But then I wouldn't have won a contest. But the resources there are awesome. And going down to the nursery and finding someone who really, it's not just nothing against big box stores, but at the nursery they have time to explain to you, to look at your plan, to ask you questions, and to really help you. And they want you to succeed. Mm-hmm. And so, that was what I'm taking away from the process, and use those resources. That's what they're there for. They want you to succeed. They want you to be happy. They want you to have a pretty lawn. So go, ask questions.